We had a really good time. We had a lot of fun. But then like her partner showed up and I like left. I was like, drat.
Hi everyone, I'm Alex, and I help shy, introverted nerds get over their fears and anxieties to find their player 2. Today I bring you Peter, aka Belmont, a nerd who found his player 2, and we're going to talk about how they ended up together. The idea is to address some of your questions, dispel some myths, and hear about the many different ways that nerds can find real relationships. Pete, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So I got in contact with you after Kaya suggested that I talk to you. I already knew about you. I've been following you for a while. I love your reels, but I would like to share. I would like for you to share with the audience what makes you a nerd in your own words.
Oh wow. I guess it started when I was a kid. I got like super obsessed with Ghostbusters. I loved it, and then it just like I got into fantasy books. I'd read a lot of like King Arthur and Merlin stories, Lost Years of Merlin. Then I got into The Lord of the Rings, and that changed everything. Because I read The Hobbit, and I watched The Hobbit, the animated version, the 70s one with Rankin Bass, and then I read it, and then I read The Lord of the Rings, and then I read The Silmarillion, then The Unfinished Tales, and then it just kept going. And I always like kept it on the side, but then I tried other stuff. I played music, I was a guitarist. I did video games. I love video games. I love building computers. So I'm like really embedded in like nerdom, I guess. I play D&D all the time. I would say there's something, if you ask me if there was something I didn't like, it would make more sense because I've just really always been that way. But I've also made sure to be like, really sociable. I've always had a group of friends who were into similar things. We'd all read the same things, play the same games, so forth. So it really fostered that for me throughout my whole life. But then I decided to start a Lord of the Rings account because I got invited to do trivia. We won. And then, they were like, you should start your own page. And I started just talking about lore. And now like we've really formed this awesome community for Lord of the Rings. That's how I met Kaya. We're all part of Voice of Arda now. And, it's been an amazing thing. So, and throughout that time, I had partners, but then I met Ariana about, I want to say 7 years ago, is it? And I could explain a little bit about that, but I think we're asking for the nerd up part.
Yeah, no, that's right. I mean, that's a great segue. So how did you meet her?
Actually, we went to high school together. We've known each other since we were 15, but then we weren't romantically involved.
So what was your relationship like when you were in high school?
We're friends. We were just friends. We kind of revolved around the same friend groups. I had like my friend group and obviously theirs. We'd all mingle together, and her and I actually lived down the street from each other, so we'd meet up and like hang out. But I'll say it, I had a crush on her a little bit. She didn't really have any interest in me. It's okay. I was kind of a goofball as a kid. So
did she know that you had a crush on her?
No, I don't think so.
So you never did anything because of why?
We started talking, but it was like, I don't know. I guess it was already like the end of high school, and it was like we were already going to college, and we didn't do it. Like it wasn't like that, but like I didn't really. We were going to different places, we'll put it that way. So I was like, oh, let me pursue.
So basically, like you were friends from when, like, let's say you were like around 15 or so, and you actually started developing a crush later when you were about to finish high school.
Yeah, and so we went our separate ways, and we didn't actually meet up again until we were like 29, 28 for 10-year high school reunion, and we started hanging out again.
What was the difference when you met again?
I think just life experience. Ariana had like lived in Taiwan for 5 years. I had like moved across the country, moved back, had worked, and, we had both had relationships that it wasn't that they were bad relationships, didn't work out. And, really just looking for something different. We started off as friends again, just talking, and we would get ramen together because we actually worked near each other in our area. So after work, we'd meet up and get some ramen, and then we started hanging out a little more. And then she asked to like hang out on the weekend, and I was going out with a bunch of friends, and I was like, why don't you come along? She had just, like I said, moved back, so she was still like acclimating back in like American culture in our hometown and what have you. We'd both just come back.
For those first meetups, did you still have a crush on her? Like, were you actually thinking like, were these dates, or
I wasn't
What
thinking
was the plan?
I wasn't thinking dates, but I guess things kind of changed when she had like a company party and the person she was seeing couldn't go and she invited me. And like I guess kind of felt different about her after that. I was like, I had started forming a crush on her again. But I didn't do anything about it. She was seeing someone. I would never be so disrespectful. But then like that didn't work out, and yeah, really, it was us. Really came down to like we could have just kept being friends, I guess. And but when we hung out, like I kind of took it a little bit of initiative and started dancing together and just like being flirtatious. But really, the build up until that was just talking. Um, Not like, hey, do you want to like go out on a date? But like, hey, how was your day? Like, what are you up to? Sending funny. It really started with like sending funny stuff on Instagram too. That's another thing I know is like a really good love language is like memes. So like, for example,
Can
like
work.
I make Lord of the Rings memes all the time and like it's really stupid ones. I always like put them past her first to see if she'll laugh or I'll like tell her I'm making them. But she actually is very much, I found out later on, which is crazy, into fantasy, like reading. Loves reading. Like, reads more fantasy books than I've ever seen anyone read. Like
You found out later on how much later on,
like a couple weeks a month. I knew she liked to read, but then I realized how much she liked to read.
right.
So I really appreciate that about her because like I don't want to say I'm a fantasy reader. Like I read fantasy, I've read a lot of fantasy, but I read like Lord of the Rings and the histories now a lot because I like to
Yeah.
talk about it on a scholarly level. But yeah, she like loves fantasy books. And it's like she'll read other stuff, but whenever she like, for example, whenever she comes across like a Lord of the Rings reference, she always like shares it with me. She's like, yo, check this out. Like they're bringing up Legolas or something. I'm like, oh damn. So we laugh on that type of thing all the
So
time.
was that one of the things that bonded you guys together, like when you met again after like 10 years? Or
I yeah, a little bit because like I love anime too, and like we were going to ramen place and like Naruto would be playing. I'd be like, oh, look at what Naruto was playing. She's like, oh, what's that? I've never seen it. And then later on, like we watched Naruto together, and that was like her first anime. And we started like that was one of the things we started talking about. Or like when we I knew she liked to read, but then we started talking about the book she liked to read and like the fantasy aspect of it. And I realized that she liked to play D&D. She had played D&D in Taiwan. I was like, oh, I love playing D&D. I played all the time. Um, and it kind of just like I wouldn't say snowball, but like slowly, like we started like
yeah.
realizing more and more things were in common. And then it was more like, as she started dating me, she started like adopting some of the things I like. Like she likes anime more than I do now. Like she watches it more than I do.
Okay.
Or like we started like she doesn't play video games. I've been playing video games since I was a kid. I love playing video games. We started playing Stardew Valley together, right? Great game to play as a couple, in my opinion. And now she just plays it so much. She modded out like her whole game and all this stuff. And like she's playing for hours and hours. Like, all right. So I guess my point is that like we didn't always have like common likes. Like we weren't liking the same thing all the time. Like she's into ceramics. I like to sketch. Like we have like different things that we enjoy. But what we realize is that we love creating. We love talking about these things. And, we really enjoyed these more fantastical topics. Um, and it kind of just grew from there. And it's weird because like most of my past relationships that I've had, um, it was always like I had my likes, I was just but like they were like, whatever, like you do your thing, well, like I have my thing. But this is the
Yeah.
first time I've ever been in a relationship. I think that's what makes us so close. We're like now we're getting married. Um, is that like we not only did we share what we like, and even if the other one didn't like it, we both like were interested in like tried it out, like tried to experience what the other person's doing. And we ended up like having a lot in common. And, for me, that was really important because I had been in like relationships that were more like, surface level or just more opposites attracting type thing. And, we're not the same person by far. But it was nice to meet someone who was on the same page as me. And I think that's the
Yeah.
hardest thing to do. Like, especially if you're like trying to date someone is to like meet someone who's on the same page as you. And that only comes from like conversations and like putting yourself out there, but not like the expectation, I guess. There was never an expectation that we were going to start dating. We just wanted to get to know each other. We were old friends and she had just come back. So it was a good opportunity for her to get like, reacquainted with like certain things. And I was looking for that kind of friendship too, where I wasn't really looking to date. That's my point. I wasn't like looking to meet anyone. So it just kind of worked out.
Yeah. How long did it take between when you guys met and just became friends until you started dating?
November, and then we got together. We kissed for the first time in January, mid-January.
Oh, so just a couple of months.
Yeah, just a couple months.
Okay.
So we started getting ramen down the street from a place. Then we started just talking and wanting to like meet up outside of that. And then like she had her company party thing that was like she had just started working there, so she wanted like she needed someone to come with her to leave a good impression. So she brought me. We
Yeah.
had a really good time. We had a lot of fun. But then like her partner showed up and I like left. I was like, drat. But
So like you clearly were still into her, even though you were like, oh, like not looking to date anyone, you were still into her.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. Do you know from her side?
Yeah, I think she said she found me cute and like attractive, and but she also wasn't like really looking for that directly, where she was like, "Oh, I want to date Pete immediately" type thing. No, it was never
Yeah.
like that. It was just kind of like happened.
Yeah. Usually, like many people have these, because I mean, what I suggest most of the time is like just go out, meet friends, and just like befriend someone, see if you like them as a person as well, and then see if you want to date them, right? And there's often this fear of the friend zone, which for me, it's being friends and being attracted to someone is two separate things. It's not like you're in a box. It could be like you're saying, like, oh, I'm attracted, but I'm not looking for anything. I just want to be friends. And then things happen. Did you at some point like have that fear of like, oh, if we're just friends, then I might be friend zoned? Or is it something that didn't cross your mind?
So, but like for me, I don't want to say I've never like I've had trouble like meeting people, and like I've also not had trouble meeting people. I think it's important that like it doesn't matter if you're friends or if your intention is to be friends or if you want to date them or something. It's all about how you display yourself. And a lot of that just I find comes down to just being confident and like yourself and like what you're saying. Not so much that you're trying to impress someone. It's like I don't know, it's a weird difference. And like with her, it was always like I just wanted to get to know her more and I wanted her to get to know me. And it wasn't like, oh, I want to date you or I want to like, go on a date
Yeah.
with you and go home with you type thing. No, it was always just like, wow, that's really interesting. She lived in Taiwan for 5 years. I'd love to hear about that. Or like, she's really into art and she like, I remember that as a kid because I had actually given her a sketchbook when we were kids as a present and which she still had. She still had the sketchbook. She showed it to me. I was like, holy shit. But yeah, it was stuff like that. It it's hard. Like I think the friend zone thing is a real concern. But at the same time, it's like you have to realize how you're putting yourself out there for someone. What kind of energy you're putting out there for someone? Are you putting that friendship aspect out? Or are you hinting at things? Or are you saying like, hey, I'd like to see where this is going? Are you being communicated? A lot of people forget that like we live in such a digital world where we're on social media and like we're all out there all the time. Like my face is now on the internet. That's the one thing about making videos. Your face is out there now. Like
Mm-hmm.
and like I'm not a popular social media creator, but I'm in like all the circles and I get like recognized by other Tolkien creators and it's like, dude, I don't even know you. It's weird. But I like it, but it's weird. And like yeah, that's the hard thing when you meet new people too. Like I said at the beginning of this, I've always liked to just talk to people. I just like hearing about the human experience a lot. I love hearing people's story, or I love engaging with someone. Say if I'm at like an industry or a restaurant or a store, and like try to make their day, and be like, "Hey, man, like I gotta tell them a joke or something." Because it's just for me, I think about my own perspective. Like, how would I like to feel? We're so surrounded by so many people, but we feel so alienated at times. And that was the good thing about meeting Ariana was that like it wasn't like, oh, we're on a dating app because I've done dating apps and I've never had success with it. Never. And like I'm not saying I'm a like bad looking guy. I just don't know how to approach the
Yeah.
situation. It feels so unnatural. Where it's like for me, I grew up in a big family and I was surrounded by people my whole life. It's like you kind of just want to go out there and talk to someone and take the risk. And there has to be some thrill in that too, like take the risk, just go for it. And I find that like with Ariana, it was a very simple like, hey, this is the next. It felt very natural next step. Like we talked and we got to know each other. Then we wanted to hang out with each other. Then we started dancing when we were out together. And then we kissed. And then it just kept going from there and there. And then next thing you know, we're telling each other we love one another, and then we want to be with each other for
Yeah.
like the rest of our lives. And I don't know. It's hard. It is hard. It's hard for me. Like I'm 36. So I've been like, I was in the period of like, oh, no dating apps into all dating apps. And so, yeah, I never have done it. I tried one dating app. I think it was Bumble for like a little bit and I hated it. And with Ariana, it was really natural and easy, probably because we're both like super outgoing, but we're also very like introverted people. We're like, we like our alone time. And I think we saw that like kindred spirit in the other person because it was always very easy to talk to her. And there's also that aspect I realized where it's like meeting the right person and meeting someone, even if like we like argue or fight, we always find ways to like move past it. It's really about putting the work in too for a relationship. Once you get to that point where like you do want to date each other, it's like love. There's no real such thing as love, in my opinion. Love at first sight. There's lust at first sight. You want this person, but love takes time and it takes a lot of effort and it takes a lot of patience. And sometimes you run out of patience and it takes a little more. And you know that's how it works. And meeting that person, I really just think you gotta have not be confident in what you're putting out there, just be like confident in what you love and who you are as a person.
Speaking of that, many people are afraid of showing their nerd side because they fear that they might be rejected. So I'm just curious, like you said, like within like a couple of weeks that you knew that like she liked nerdy stuff.
Oh
Were
yeah.
you like, did you just like share it without caring about what she would think about it? Did she say it first? Like, because for even like speaking with Kaya when we were doing her interview, she said that it took her, I think, if I remember correctly, like almost a year to tell her partner that she liked Lord of the Rings so much because she didn't want to like info dump all the stuff.
We went through some weird stages. When we first started dating, the first 6 months, my best friend from when I was like 10 years old, like inseparable, passed away. And it messed me up for a bit because only like 3 years later, I lost my dad to COVID and she
Oh,
lost her grandma. So we went through a lot. And I think at one point after my friend died, I was like, didn't really want to hide who I was, but I had never been like, sorry, I wasn't afraid to talk about who I was. Like, I'm like, hey, this is who I am. Like, I would be like, hey, I'm going to a LAN party. She's like, what's a LAN party? I'm like, don't worry about it. It's a bunch of degenerates getting together to play Grand Theft Auto. It's like, but but she would like, she showed up and she was like, what are you doing here? She like, didn't get it.
yeah.
It's like, just play video games. So it's like, I was never like closed minded or like trying to hide it, but I don't think she realized how much I actually love Lord of the Rings. Until she saw like me want to throw a Hobbit party, and she was like, "Why? What's a hot like? What, you're gonna throw a Hobbit party?" I'm like, "I'm gonna throw a Hobbit party," and because I used to be a chef, so I was like, "I'm gonna cook every meal, and we're gonna watch like the whole
Nice.
extended edition." And now we're on like we didn't do it last year, but we've done it like 3 or 4 times now. Oh, it's a hit, and she loves like participating in it now because she gets all the delicious food. But
Yep.
she like watched Lord of the Rings and like for the first like not the first time, but like in a while, and yeah, like then she realized she was like, "You're really into this, aren't you?" I'm like, "Yeah, kind of, kind of."
Oh yeah. I feel like I mean what I'm hearing and what I have been also saying like with in other interviews and with some reels and stuff is you mention what you like without diving too deep into it, but also without being ashamed of it.
I
And I think that's the key.
I look at I read the news. I try to keep my finger on the pulse all the time. Nerdy culture is the dominant. Think about it. Look at how popular Marvel Cinematic Universe is,
Yeah.
or how popular certain TV shows have been. Stranger Things. You know, I love horror movies. I would have been made fun of for liking something like Stranger Things when I was a kid because it's like it's so like supernatural, fantasy, sci-fi, and like no
Yeah.
one liked that. Me growing up, I watched The Twilight Zone since I was like 6 years old. I my exciting thing was going for the New Year's marathon and Sci-Fi Channel to watch it. I was like, oh hell yeah, this is like my night's complete. Or
Party
like
time.
exactly, or watching all the Godzillas. Like that was like my brother's and I's favorite thing to do as kids. Nowadays, like most fantasy things, like what are you doing? D&D? I've never in my life thought that D&D would blow up the way it did. And now I see everyone playing D&D. Trying to bridge that stuff where it's like you like fantasy books. Oh, okay, we could do that. You like video games, we could do that too. And my point being is that like it's booming. and you should feel no shame in the fact that you love something in particular. Like if I have a friend who could sit there and say how much he loves Yu-Gi-Oh cards and find someone who also loves Yu-Gi-Oh cards, I think anyone could do it because Yu-Gi-Oh is pretty niche. Like,
Well,
so,
but like if you move within the circles of people who like the similar things,
mhm.
you're much more likely to find someone like that. Like in your
Oh,
case,
absolutely.
you let's just say that you re-met by chance, pretty much.
Yeah.
And you realize that you had like all those things in common. And even then, like you said, like she had never watched anime and now she's watching a lot.
Yeah. Point being is like we watch everything, we do everything. A lot of different fandoms. We've watched like we've gone and watched all the Star Wars. We watched most of the Marvel Cinematic Universe in the last like several years, like when they had the whole peak with Infinity War. She came with me to watch it. She was never into that. But she was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, cool! Like, let's check it out. It's something fun to do." So, I think that's also the other thing is you have to be open minded with other people's like, things they like to enjoy. And
Yeah.
luckily, she's very open minded, and I'm open minded. Like, we're like, there's some stuff I haven't tried. I should like ceramics. I think I'm just kind of scared to screw it up. But there's other stuff where I've like gone on my way with try new things, try new foods, go to new locations. It's just about putting yourself out there.
Pete, thank you very much. This
Yeah.
has been amazing. And everybody watching and listening, leave a comment or send me a comment to dm@road28.com or road28 everywhere. Maybe we can bring Pete back. If you have any questions or if you have questions for past or future guests, just let me know. I'm going to tag Pete and leave all the links in the description as well, so you can follow him. He's got lots of lore on Lord of the Rings, so make sure you follow him.
And yeah, if you ever want to ask a question about Lord of the Rings, absolutely. If you ever want to have me back, I can always talk about the bad side of relationships too that I've had in my past. But like, yeah, just I really appreciate you having me, Alex. It's fun to talk about this because this is something that's very important to me as well because it's taken years. It takes years sometimes to get to a place. But I really do believe strongly in like, we should do our best to help each other out. And that's why I wanted to be on here so much because I figured, exactly that.
I really appreciate it, man. Take care, and everyone else also take care.